All right, coming in at number 9.
What a
This
good
was
movie.
one, even though this is 9 and it's not higher, this was one that was on all 3 of our lists.
Mm,
Elf. Elf coming
okay,
in at number 9. So
makes sense.
I'm looking here to see who had Elf the highest, and it was Corey in his number 8 spot. So
Cool.
that's why Elf is as low as 9, even though it was on all 3. None of us put it in our top 5. None of us put it in our top 7.
Yeah.
Corey, why, what is it about Elf that keeps you coming back to it?
What keeps me coming back? I don't know.
What
I think
makes
the
you
jokes
feel
always make
strong,
me
my
laugh.
friend?
Like, I don't think it necessarily gets stale year after year, but I also
Mhm.
like if it wasn't a Christmas movie, I think the jokes would get stale for some reason. But just because it's Christmas, you come back to it once a year, and I think that's exactly what the time away from it you need to fond for it, and to grow an appreciation and to want to come back.
To
Fun
Is the
for it.
acting like that inspiring? No. Is like the story that crazy? It's a very enjoyable story, but it's nothing like super special. I think that's why it's not higher, honestly. But I like Will Ferrell in it. I like everyone in it. And I just, it makes you laugh and it makes you feel ready to be in the Christmas spirit. I also think it's the most drab version of the North Pole we see in a movie. It's not very happy in the North Pole. Yeah, like in the
Well, because our
one in the
guy is
workshop.
sad, I think.
I think
our
everyone's
character's
sad.
sad.
Well, it's cold up there.
Well,
It's
in the
cold
workshop,
there.
it's very gray, and I imagine the North Pole is very colorful, and it's gray, and they're all sitting around just one table. I don't know. It's just kind of like, but I still do like the movie. But those are the reasons it didn't make my top 5.
I think what I love about Elf, my favorite part about Elf, besides, just the Will Ferrell performance in general, but like, that kind of goes without saying, is just I do love that North Pole does seem like it's almost out of like one of those old Christmas cartoons like Frosty the Snowman or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with like,
I was gonna
obviously
say
everyone
more
loves
Rudolph than like with
Yeah.
the claymation.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, that one, yeah, specifically. But like everyone loves to quote the "Dear buddy, hope you find your dad." But I think the funniest, I mean, just the fact that a narwhal just comes out of the water and says that to a grown man, Will Ferrell elf walking, and he's like, "Thanks, narwhal," or whatever. It's just
Thanks, Mr. Narwhal.
that's the unique approach to that movie that I really appreciate. I think the movie kind of loses steam for me in the last third once we kind of settle into the usual just kind of Christmas, like, oh, we need to be happier type of thing, and everyone needs to learn their lesson. Not saying it's bad, but by any means. But that's the more common ground that we've seen in a lot of different Christmas movies. So I think the novelty of the situation is sort of wearing thin by the end, which is why it's not higher on my list. But I don't want to make it sound like I'm not. Obviously, it's on all of our lists. We all like it. So like I do like Elf a lot. I think it's really funny. It's a movie I'm glad never got a sequel. I don't know what you could possibly do to kind of keep the freshness of that premise going. So, Cole, do you have any thoughts on Elf before we move on to number 8?
Nothing that hasn't been said, but I will say I actually really appreciate the third act because the third act is about really what I love about the movie and how Buddy's like infectious joy just kind of not just encapsulates his father, his half brother. It takes over a whole city that has become kind of cruel. It's kind of like that idea in Ghostbusters 2 where like everyone became a miserable asshole. So the ooze started rising from the sewers and everyone became a miserable asshole and stopped believing in Santa. So he is able to affect Zoe Deschanel's character. He's able to affect the apartment store he worked at. He just has this kindness that oozes, which is why I think it's up there in Will Ferrell's catalog, but it's what I love about Christmas movies in that it brings joy. And I think James Caan being that asshole dad is one of the more quality roles he plays.
Yeah,
Outside of Sonny Corleone, of course.
Which is when Corey and I learned all about consequences watching his role as Sonny Corleone in The Godfather. One thing about Elf that's crazy for me is like it's older than it seems to me. Like, does this movie feel like it's before Anchorman? Like, this is Will Ferrell before
This was
Anchorman.
06, so this was after.
No, this
Anchorman
was 03.
04.
Elf is 03.
No, wait, no way.
See the example right here. Cole was not. It is older than That was
That is
right there, Cole.
insane.
Fun with numbers.
Fun with
That
numbers.
is
We're having fun with numbers.
insane, man.
He made Elf the same year. Elf came out the same year as Old School. Of the other Will Ferrell movie. So like
That is crazy to think about.
yeah, just
That's
such a different vibe
range.
switch.
That's
And spoiler, I
range,
think I like
guys.
them about the same amount. If that tells you anything about how much I like Old School. All right, and the one thing before I move on, my favorite scene in Elf is him overhearing Zoe Deschanel doing "Baby It's Cold Outside," and he just casually just starts to do the duet with her. That's a really charming
Also,
scene.
that's like the least Zoe Deschanel role I've ever seen because her personality is so bubbly. Like, I think of her as Jess from New Girl, and she is just so drab and so like.
Second time drab has been used on the podcast.
I mean, you used it first, buddy.
Crazy.
I don't think that's really tough talk. He called it out.
Felt like tough talk.
Well, I felt strong, my friend, so I'll call you an elf one more
Are you
time.
feeling strong, Cole?